Yo, what's up, friends? It's Dave from the Unleash the Awesome podcast, as well as Digital Marketing Mentorship with Dave Gambrill. Hope you're having an amazing day. Hey, listen, one of the things I know to be true is that creating an online course is one of the best ways to give you freedom and flexibility and margin in your life. Why? It's very much like, here, let me turn the light up here a little bit. By the way, I'm coming to you live wherever you happen to be watching this. Might be watching it on Facebook or YouTube. One of the best things you could do is create intellectual property. I did a YouTube short and Instagram reel and Facebook reel not too long ago where I talked about how dead celebrities made a ton of money in 2022, like millions of dollars, something like $500 million. And they're dead. And how they do that is because they had intellectual property. Most of them had books or records, music, albums, things like that. But you could also create digital courses that could live on after you. And if you set it up right, look, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not giving you legal advice, but if you set it up right, it could be something that could benefit your heirs for generations to come, right? Because you created an online course. But in the short term for you, what that means is it gives you time leverage, right? Because you can create a course, put it online, and then it can work for you. It can be available 24/7, 365, literally all over the world. And people can learn from it. You can serve a lot of people. And when you do that and you help people solve problems, you make some money in the process. So I want to talk to you about 3 simple things to help you unlock some ideas. And I also put in the description or the comments, wherever you happen to be watching this, a resource from my friend Amy Porterfield. It's a quiz that will help you. It's like just a couple questions, but it will help you step through some of the process. But I'm going to give you some stuff even before that, before you take the quiz, that will help. Okay, because a lot of people get stuck before they get started. And there's 3 things I think that will help you. I know will help you finally get your course online, right? The first one is this. A lot of times we have this thing called the curse of knowledge, meaning we think that this thing is too easy. We think it's too simple. Doesn't everyone know that? If you find yourself saying that about the thing that you want to teach about, that's precisely the thing you probably should be teaching about. Let me say it again. If you find yourself saying something like, man, this is so dumb. Doesn't everybody know this? Or that's so easy. No, I'm not going to teach on that. That is probably precisely the thing you need to teach on. Because if you think back to you before you knew that thing, if you think back to you before you figured that out, if you think back to you before you had the struggle and went through all the process of trying to get to wherever you are now with that, you'll probably think back and go like, man, if only I knew some of these things, if only I, blah, blah, blah. And so then you wouldn't have to go through all that struggle and headache and waste a lot of time. You could just have the success that you're looking for almost immediately, right? So there are probably some things there that you had to learn in the process. So the first thing I would say is, if you're thinking that, that's probably precisely the thing you should be teaching, okay? It's known as a curse of knowledge. You can go look it up on Wikipedia if you want, but we all suffer from that. And I still suffer from that. When I do Facebook Lives, when I do podcast episodes, when I do videos here in the Facebook group or on YouTube, I still think like, doesn't everybody know this? Even if people already know it, oftentimes they need to hear it in a different way or have it be repackaged. Or if you think back to when you were in school and maybe the teacher or the professor in college was teaching something to you and you didn't get it or understand it, but then a teaching assistant or one of your peers taught it to you in a slightly different way, and then it unlocked it for you, right? That is why there's so many opportunities in the marketplace for courses. And I forget the specific number on this, but Goldman Sachs did a projection that something like $500 billion or something a year is going to be invested in online courses. That does not include universities and colleges, by the way, within the next couple of years. Like the number's already huge, and it's going to be like $500 billion sometime soon. So there's a lot of market opportunity here. So the first one is this, curse of knowledge, all right? If you get stuck there, like that's probably the thing you need to be teaching. So think about it, lean into that. I have that problem all the time. I'm like, I want to teach something more technical and more sophisticated and more crazy or whatever, right? Because like you want to sound smart. But the reality is like on the path of mastery from A to Z, right? If A is a beginner and Z is mastery, which will never get perfection, right? If you move down the path from A to, let's say, G, right? You could teach all the people like you're uniquely qualified. Here's your tweetable moment, or I guess what do we call this now? Xable moment, threadable moment. I don't know. On the path of mastery from A to Z, if you made it to G, right, then you are uniquely qualified to teach the people that are from A through F in the process, and maybe all the way up to G, because you just went through that process yourself. You just figured out how to get there. So you remember what it's like. So you just turn around and teach the people behind you, right? You just essentially have to be one chapter ahead. Okay, so if that's getting you stuck, we just fixed that problem for you. All right. The second thing is this, just do some quick market research to make sure people actually care about this thing. If it's in a category with health, wealth, or relationships, you can better bet that people are spending money on trying to solve that problem. But if you want to do some quick market research, I did a whole podcast episode on this over on Unleash the Awesome, talking about how to do free market research using Amazon and YouTube and some other things. If you want to go listen to the deep dive on that, go listen to it. By the way, a lot of the episodes I do over here are evergreen, so you don't need to listen to the latest one. You can look through the list of things there, and most of the stuff is still relevant today, even if I recorded it a year ago, 2 years ago, 3 years ago. Okay. But the synopsis of it is do some quick market research, right? So you come with your idea, you're going to teach it, pop over to YouTube real fast and just type in the problem you're trying to solve or the subject that you're trying to solve and see if there's videos there, right? If there's videos, that's a good sign, right? It means that people are trying to solve that problem. And then look into the comments of those videos. Look at the comments, of the good comments where people are like, yeah, this is great. This is so helpful. Look at the negative comments, right? I usually look at the 5-star and the 1-star when it comes to reviews or comments, right? I look at the ones that are highly praising, okay, what do they really like about this? And then I look at the detractors and say, okay, what's going on here? Is there an opportunity to maybe teach this better or in a different way or give a different example? Then you can go to Amazon and do the same thing. Are there books that are already going through this process? Look at the reviews of the books. Again, look at the 5-star and the 1-star, see what people really like about it, see the words and the terminology that they're using, because sometimes they ask the questions by using words that you wouldn't think to use because either you have become a subject matter expert or you're too far removed from the process, or maybe they just are thinking about it from a different way and you need to highlight it in your response or your course a little differently so that they understand it, right? So speaking their language, meeting them where they are, if you will. So you could do that on YouTube, you could do that on Amazon, and then you could pop in some of those terms that you use, that you learn in something called Answer the Public. I think that's what it's called. Again, you could just go listen to the whole podcast episode if you want. I think the website is called Answer the Public. You can pop that in. It'll give you some other questions to think about. And now with ChatGPT and other artificial intelligence things out there, you can pop it in there. What are some synonyms for this? Or what are some other problems that people have with this? Or how are people solving this problem? You can ask ChatGPT and see what it says. It might give you some other ideas. Okay. So, but just do some quick market research. If you search something and you search it a few different ways with a few different words and angles, and you don't see that anybody's doing anything about it, it might seem like an opportunity, but it's probably not, because that means people aren't really having that problem. And then you probably don't have the budget or the time to create a huge marketing campaign to build up all the support for whatever that problem is, right? Maybe the problem is too small, right? And people aren't trying to solve. So it's good news if you see that there's already some books or some other things out there, some podcast episodes, whatever. You could do the same thing for podcast episodes. Go search on Spotify or Audible even. My podcast is available there as well, or on iTunes, whatever. See if there's episodes that cover those subjects, okay? So quick market research. Don't get stuck there. Don't get stuck there. It's very easy to do analysis paralysis and get stuck, right? So just quick, see what people are doing, see the language you're using, see if what you're going to teach matches up, and that's a good thing. If it's already there, fine. Look, everything that's been out there in personal development and teaching and growth, there's really nobody teaching anything new unless the thing is totally new, right? It's just all this stuff is repackaged in a different way, in a different format, with a different voice, and people still need to hear that. Look at how many books are on personal growth and development and leadership, right? Tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, who knows, right? They all basically say the same few things. They're just said in a slightly different way. So don't let that stop you, okay? Second step, right? Market research. First step, get that crisp knowledge thing out of your head. That's probably the thing you need to teach. Second one, market research. And then the third one is, let's keep it really simple, okay? If you think about where you are in the process on the path of mastery, let's say you made it from A to G, as in Gambrill, and then here's how you create your course. Ready? If you could only share 5 things, or what are the top 5 things you would teach somebody or you would share with somebody who's just starting out on that journey, or they're behind you from A, B, C, D, wherever they are in that path up to G where you have arrived, what are the top 5 things they would need to know? What are the top 5 things? If you could only tell them 5, what are the 5 things you would teach them or they need to know, right? List those out. Those now become the modules for your course, okay? Or the subjects of your course, or the headings or the chapters of your course. And inside those modules, maybe you have lists or another settings inside there, so you break it down into a smaller subject. Guess what? If you ask ChatGPT for some of these things, that will help too, right? So if you say, hey, what are the top 5 things, this, or what would you teach, or how would you break it down on this, or one of the tools that I like to use to host my courses is called Kajabi. They have some AI tools that will help you through some of that process as well. So you get there and you just say, okay, here are the 5 things I would teach. Help me break it down into smaller segments or smaller subjects or listicles or whatever, right? So you say, okay, here are the top 5 things I would teach on this thing. Ask ChatGPT for some help, or Jasper, whatever. See what it says. And those are the modules now for your course. And then you go and you host your course in Kajabi. By the way, if you want my affiliate link for that, just go to gambrill.com/Kajabi. You can get that. You'll get a nice trial there. You can check it out. You can load your videos in there and host your course. And you're off and running. But those are the things that tend to get people stuck. Those 3 things. 1, the curse of knowledge. Doesn't everyone know this? So then they don't even proceed. No. Yeah, a lot of people probably know it, but they don't know it like you know it. And they haven't heard it the way you're going to share it. What I'm talking about right now for the last however many minutes, 11 minutes, and this has probably all been said before. I know it's been said before. But you haven't heard it this way, with the spin for me, and maybe today that it lands on you in such a way that you finally take action, right? So curse of knowledge. Do some quick market research. Again, if you want to go search my podcast for the deep dive episode on that, go listen to it. But you could just search YouTube, Amazon, pop some of those things that you learn and Answer the Public, ChatGPT, whatever. And then just ask yourself, if I had to teach the people that are just getting started or the people that are just behind me in the path of mastery for this thing, what are the top 5 things they need to know? And then just break it down into smaller segments. Upload those as modules for your course. You're off and running. Now, clearly, there are other steps to the process. My friend Amy Porterfield is really great at helping you go through all that. Again, if wherever you're watching this, there's in the description or in the comments a link to a quiz that she has. I would highly recommend you go check that out. Take that quiz. It takes you a couple minutes. It'll give you some more insight on what it is you want to teach about and your teaching style a little bit. And then you can take what I just taught you, what Amy's teaching you, put it together, use a tool like Kajabi to host your stuff, and you're off and running. This thing is not as complex as you're making it in your mind. It's also not easy, because if it was easy, everybody would be doing it, but it is simple and there is a process. And if I can do it, you can do it. If Amy can do it, you can do it. If Ali Abdal can do it, you can do it, right? There's people that are doing this and have been very successful in doing it. You can do it too. You just got to get over that curse of knowledge that's stopping you from even getting started. All right, hope that served you. Have an amazing day. If I could do anything for you wherever you happen to be catching this, put your questions or comments in the comments, and I'll get to them when I can. See ya.